know, lawn care is not just a once-off thing that you do during the year. It's something that you have to come back every 3 or 4 months, and maybe in the growing season every few weeks, to have a really lush green lawn for the kids to play on and for you to enjoy. And of course to absorb moisture when you're hosing or when it's raining. Now, it's not just about fertilising. There are a few other tips I can give you to have your lawn looking really good all year round. So where do we start? Well, I guess it does start with fertilising, but I'm going to start at the other end, mowing. During the year, it doesn't matter where you are in Australia, your lawn will need to be mown on a regular basis. Now, what you mow it with, and whether it's a cylinder mower, you know, a rotary, an electric, I love the electric, or maybe it's the older-fashioned sort of petrol-driven mowers, when the growing season is happening, you might need to mow it 2 or 3 times in the month, every fortnight or so. Depends on the moisture and how much growth is happening in the grass. The main thing I'd like to get across is to raise the mower just a little. If you're scalping the lawn and taking it back to the rhizomes, doesn't matter whether it's couch or kaiku or any one of the new hybrids, you're going to find that you're putting the grass under a lot of pressure. So just raise the mower up a little bit, just 1 or 2 notches, maybe 1 will be enough. It'll look better when you finish, it still looks green and not brown. It also enables the grass to recover much more quickly. Instead of taking 2 weeks to recover, it'll recover in a couple of days. So raise the lawnmower up when you are mowing it. The other thing is you may find that there are weeds. Everybody panics about weeds. I get calls on the radio about weeds in lawn all the time. And one of the tips that I could pass on is if you're moving from an area of a really lush lawn to a weedy sort of lawn, average sort of lawn, maybe a Heinz 57 different varieties of lawn, that's okay when you're going that way. But if you're mowing from a poor section out in the street into your beautiful lush green lawn, make sure you don't bring any weeds with you. So hose the lawnmower down, give it a good blow with the blower, at least make sure as many of those weeds as possible are kept out in the street and don't come into your lush green lawn. So a couple of tips there when you're mowing, how to mow, raising the lawnmower and keeping the weeds out. Now, weeds of course will come in, and one of the things that's changed since I was a greenkeeper decades ago is that all of those herbicides that greenkeepers and home gardeners had access to, they've gone, they've been taken away. So you need to look very closely if you're going to use chemicals to control your weeds. If you've got a buffalo lawn, there'll be specific weed killers, herbicides we call them, at your local garden centre that you can ask for. Get the advice, say, look, I've got a buffalo lawn, I've got some weeds in it, and they will give you the advice, the staff will, on which ones to use. Now, if you've got couch, the finer grasses, then there are a wider selection of herbicides that you can use chemically to control weeds. But you know, generally speaking, I've found over the last 30 years we've been in this garden, if you keep your lawn really strong and lush and vigorous, the weeds just don't have a chance to get a hold. So how is it we're going to keep your lawn looking really lush and weed-free all year round? Well, yes, it does start with fertilising, but not just any old fertiliser. The days of sulphate of ammonia are long gone. It was just 100% nitrogen. Greens up your grass, yes, but it softens the grass, making it very susceptible to weeds. So what do I recommend? This is Sudden Impact for Lawns from Neutrog. They've been working on this formula for a long time, and what they've come up with is a balanced fertiliser. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulphur, calcium, and all the trace elements. So the whole lawn, the roots, the rhizomes and the leaves are being fed. That means you end up with a really strong grass. A lawn that looks good, but also is strong enough to keep the weeds out. So why is it so good? Well, many years ago, they started doing research like for Sudden Impact for roses and go-go juice and all of those, and they discovered that there was a super bacteria, a beneficial bacteria that was really making fertilisers in the soil work. Veggies, camellias, roses, it didn't make any difference, and your lawn. And the end result, once Dr. Yui Strower joined them, a world-renowned soil scientist, he knows really what's going on. His research showed that there was some superbugs that were really beneficial. They were helping all those nutrients in the soil be released, and the end result was Encase. You'll see Encase here on the side of the bag. Yes, you'll notice my mug's on the bag. I support and in fact encourage you to use this particular product because over the last 20 or 30 years, it's the only lawn food that I've noticed that really covers the full gamut of nutrition that your lawn needs. Regardless of the variety, they all need nutrients from the roots, the rhizomes, the leaves, and then to give you that lush cover. So why is Sudden Impact for Lawns so good for your lawn? Well, for a start, on the back of the pack, it's got that full nutrition that I mentioned. All the major elements and the minor and trace elements that's going to have your grass good and strong and looking good. It's organically based, it's a premium product, it's granular so it's easy to distribute. And a bag like this will cover 400 square metres, so it's very, very economic to use. So when do you apply Sudden Impact for Lawns? Well, make sure that the soil is nice and moist to start with. That's going to take the nutrition deep down into the roots. So apply it after rain or, in fact, after you've watered the lawn thoroughly. And then, of course, always after you've applied fertiliser, water it in again. But there's another use for Sudden Impact for Lawns. Any non-flowering greeny plants like bamboo, maybe even the ferns, some of your indoor plants that don't have flowers, they will benefit from the full nutrition regime that's in Sudden Impact for Lawns. Don't overdo it, just a little. Again, water the pots, water the plants, and then give them a little feed. Now, I know a lot of people are growing clumping bamboos today for privacy, for screens. Well, to get them growing and to get that growth happening, give them a little sprinkle with Sudden Impact for Lawns as well. Well, there's a few tips for you. You can apply any time of the year, but it's Sudden Impact for Lawns that are a basis for all of those benefits.